Hello, and welcome back to our Awakening Intuition video series, where we pull oracle cards twice a month from my oracle decks, Awakening Intuition and Grief, Grace, and Healing. So today we'll be pulling oracle cards for the for the second half of March. Time is going by so quickly, you forget that it's already the second half of March, but it is the second half of March, and we're pulling oracle cards today for the last 2 weeks of March 2024. One of the first things we do before we pull oracle cards is we test our intuition by asking our intuition to give us a number 1, 2, or 3. So this number that your intuition picks, number 1, 2, or 3, might give you a little hint about which card will be most relevant for you for the last 2 weeks of March. So there's a few ways that your intuition might give you this message about which card could be most relevant for you. You might hear a voice in your mind. That's clairaudience, the psychic pathway of clairaudience, where you hear a little voice saying number 1 in your mind. Another way that your intuition could give you this message is through clairvoyance. That's the psychic pathway of visual images that you see in your mind's eye. So you might see in your mind's eye the number 2. You might see that as an image. Another way that your intuition could give you this message is through clairsentience, the feeling psychic pathway. So every time I say the number 3, or every time you think of the numbers 1, 2, and 3, your energy just might be really pulled to that number 3. Like, wow, that number 3 really pops for me energetically. I'm just really pulled to it. A lot of energy around that number 3 for me. That's your clairsentience feeling psychic pathway. So here we go. Get your number. And another thing that I want to do before we get going here and pulling 3 new cards is do a recap from last time. Because there was a card from Grief, Grace, and Healing that I think really spoke to a lot of people in the first 2 weeks of March. So I wanted to review that card and even read the guidebook definition of that card for you. That card was called Create Your Healing Well. And this is, you'll hear more in the guidebook, you'll understand how to do this, but basically the concept is needing to have some space from something. So whether you're grieving something, a huge loss in your life that you occasionally just need to get some space from, or something really small, like you're just annoyed with something that day, or you're having one of those negative thoughts that's just spiraling down and isn't really helpful, then you're thinking, I just need to get a little space from this. I need to put this somewhere safe and healing so I can just get some breathing room. That's what the Healing Well card is about. And it really came to me during the first 2 weeks of March that sometimes we need to do this, even with just little tiny things during the day. You know, I need to get some space from this thought, from this situation. Let me just put it in my healing well. It's a safe space. So let's open up Grief, Grace, and Healing, and we'll just quickly unbox this. I'm going to grab the guidebook and I'm going to open to that message in the guidebook. We haven't ever read from the guidebook in this video series, so I'm really excited to do this. All right, so this is from the guidebook. If that card last time really spoke to you, Create Your Healing Well, this is the action step that will tell you how to do that. Close your eyes and put your hand over your physical heart to connect with your energetic heart. Picture your healing well. If you grew up in a farm or in a rural area, it might be a well you remember from childhood. It could be inspired by a picture and an illustration of a well you saw in a book, or a beautiful wishing well you saw in a fantasy movie. Mine is a well you might stumble upon in a mythical fairy wood made of mossy stone with beautiful garlands of flowers and ivy circling around it. There's also a healing magical mist floating up from its depths. Think of the person, role, experience, relationship, place, or issue you are grieving. Imagine pulling up a magical bucket made of silver, wood, or beautiful crystals from deep in your well. Say a quick prayer silently for healing as you think about what you are putting inside. Then lower the bucket back into your healing well slowly, where it will safely marinate in the loving alchemical mists of heart energy. You might peer down and picture the light mist as sparkling and pure, or give it a comforting color like soft pink or purple, or imagine it as glittery and bedazzled with magical power. Open your eyes and go about your normal life. Whenever you become overwhelmed by grief, place your hand over your physical heart and remind yourself of the heart energy of your healing well, and that it's safe to take a break from these thoughts and feelings. Place as much as you need to in your healing well at any given time. Your energetic heart has access to healing power beyond imagining. Wow, that's so lovely. And as I said, it doesn't even have to be a major, big, significant issue you're putting in your healing well. It can be the tiniest little things throughout the day and just gives you some healthy space and breathing room when you're feeling those really challenging thoughts and emotions. Okay, so now we'll get ready and we will pull some new cards for the second half of March. We'll start with Awakening Intuition, this really special deck that has become so popular. I'm really excited people are loving it so much. And who doesn't love this gorgeous yellow gold pouch that it comes in? Great for when you're traveling and you don't want to take the whole box, but you have a favorite deck you want to take with you and pull a card while you're away. So here we go, and you know my shuffling method. As I always remind you, do your own shuffling method or play around with it. And this is also a moment in the video where I usually pause and say, think of your number that your intuition gave you. Were you called to that number 1, 2, or 3? You might find that all the cards resonate with you, but you might pay special attention to that number that you picked. So first, we are going to just warm up the cards by holding them here between our palm chakras, as we always do, and set the intention that we want some really healing, helpful, and I just heard powerful messages for the second half of March. So second half of March might be quite powerful for some people watching this video. And you know, it's funny as I think of that, I love these fresh tulips that I got for the video. And here where I am in my part of the world, it is spring, and it is quite amazing and powerful how these flowers and these new leaves and grass kind of push up from the ground. It's really amazing. And so they have a lot of power to be able to do that, and so do you. So here we go. Let's pick 2 cards from Awakening Intuition. And we'll do our shuffling method where I'm just looking for cards to really jump out. Those few, okay, there we go. We got some that really stuck out and wanted my attention. And as you know, I'm looking for ones that not only jump out, but they kind of hang there. They really kind of stick the landing, if that makes sense. So, and then I got a bunch of them at once. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the first one in the group. It's one of my favorite messages from the deck, so I'm glad we got it. Let's get another card. Again, we're looking for them not just to jump up, to really stick up and hang up like, hey, I'm hanging 10. There you go. That one is out. And I'm going to, again, I got a couple, so I'm going to take the first one. I like that. And now we're going to do a slightly different pull method from Grief, Grace, and Healing. So I'm going to get this card deck out and I'll show you a slightly different pull method. Instead of shuffling and kind of trying to get a card to stick out or jump out, what I'm going to do is hold this between my palm chakras, and I'm just going to let it warm up again, set the intention for something healing, helpful, and powerful for the second half of March. That's a word that keeps coming to me, powerful. And we are going to let the cards open where they seem to want to open. Nice. We haven't pulled this card before. I'm really excited about it. Very kind of spring card too, so I like that. All right, so remember your number, 1, 2, or 3, and let's talk about these lovely cards that we pulled. So the first card, if you pick number 1, is one of my favorite cards from Awakening Intuition. It's Balance, Intuition, and Practicality. I'll read you the message. Intuition and practicality are partners. Your practical side, as well as your past experiences, deserve your attention and respect. By balancing your sixth sense guidance with practicality now, you create a grounded and ideal path forward. How can your intuitive insights be implemented in practical ways? Okay. So I really love that card, and if you've ever gotten a one-on-one reading with me, you probably know why, because even though I'm a professional intuitive and I give psychic readings, I'm an intensely practical person, and I like to give people very practical guidance. So what I'm hearing now from my angels and guides is don't be afraid to be very practical in the last 2 weeks of March. It's a real myth that our mystical abilities and our kind of practical, logical, more grounded side are two separate parts of us. Actually, they marry quite well, the mystical part of you and the very practical, grounded part of you, and they need each other. They feed each other, they inform each other. They're both there to help you successfully navigate life. Particularly when I'm hearing with my own intuition about this card, how it might affect some of us in the second half of March, is that you might have something happen in your life and it does remind you of something that's happened before. So it might be a pattern that you're kind of gently healing and updating a little bit, or it might just be something that's happened before and you think, oh, this is great. I've had this experience before in a very practical way, so I can navigate this better this time. I've got this, I've kind of got this banked in my memory, this experience, and I know what I'm doing a little bit more this time. So again, don't be afraid that when you get an intuitive hit, to figure out how to implement it in a very practical, grounded way in the second half of March. Your mystic self and your practical, grounded side need each other. They marry really, really well. And you might find that there are just some things you're having to navigate in the last 2 weeks of March that really require a practical approach, especially if you pulled card number 1. So use both. Use your intuition and your practical side. Okay, let's look at card number 2. If you chose card number 2, you chose Go Within for Guidance. I like this, and I feel like there's a bit of a theme with the 2 cards. Go Within for Guidance reads, others are not privy to your soul's plans or purposes for this lifetime, which are revealed incrementally. Soul contracts you have with individuals, companies, groups, and places are highly personal. It's always smart to seek expert outside counsel, yet integrate that with your sixth sense perceptions and lived experience wisdom. Okay, so I think there is something here. One of the themes I'm picking up on with this is for the second half of March, there might be this sense of, I kind of know what I'm doing. I have some lived experience wisdom, some past experiences. I've been through this situation before. I've seen this pattern show up in my life before. And as both of these cards say, I also am really intuitive. And I'm getting better at being able to touch into my intuition and go within on my own for guidance. Sometimes what this card speaks to is, sometimes it really is best to kind of take your own counsel. There can be, friends and family or mentors or people who give you really great guidance. And sometimes you do need to go outside your own intuition or get an intuitive second opinion and even see an intuitive like me. But there are other times where it's like, my heart is telling me that I have a strong soul contract with this person, this company, this place in the world, and this is important, and I need to invest time and energy in this. Or if I'm presented with several options, I know the one inside that I need to go with. My gut's telling me that. My intuitive gut's telling me that. So it seems like it's a really cool and, as the angels said, possibly powerful time for some people in the second half of March, where you are really using your practical experience and your intuition and saying, I feel like my soul knows what the right move is here, and I got to go with that. Of course, you always get expert counsel about things. That's very, very important. But once you talk to all your counselors and get all the research and information, it might be that there's a safe, healthy option that your soul says, yep, this is the one, I know it. So especially if you picked card number 2, really pay attention to what your own intuitive insights are telling you, especially that intuitive pathway of clairsentience where it's like, I've just got this gut instinct. This is right. My energy's just pulling me this way. Okay, so let's check out card number 3 for all of us, but also for the people who chose card number 3. Card number 3 from the deck Grief, Grace, and Healing is move energy through your body. Gentle activity at a pace you can manage might help circulate energy and emotions through you now. This card can also be a reminder to take care of your physical health during your grieving process. Tidying the house, taking a stretch class, or walking outside, or having someone else take you for a drive or stroll is uplifting. Don't overexert. Caring for the physical body grounds your energy. So this is a really cool card, number 3 from the deck Grief, Grace, and Healing. And again, to use this deck or to make meaning of these cards, you don't have to be grieving actively right now a significant loss, whether it's from the present or whether it's from years ago. If you are, this card might really speak to you, because when we are grieving and something feels very heavy in our life, when we can, in ways that we're able, whether we have physical limitations or injuries, when we can kind of move the physical body, whether it's in our house or especially being able to get outside, it starts to move energy and emotions through you. So sometimes it can help you a bit when you're able to move or get outside, or, as the card says, if you're not able to be mobile, if someone can push you on a stroll or someone can take you somewhere on a drive, it really just helps move energy and emotions through you and can help relieve a bit of that heaviness. For other people, I'm hearing in the second half of March, if it resonates, it could be a powerful time for you and you're taking a lot of action steps. This move your physical body card is almost just a way to move all that wonderful, powerful energy that's coming through you. And it could be a reminder that, hey, you're really feeling the spring vibes if you're in that part of the world. And it's go time. It's time to push that flower up out of the soil. It's time to be that tiny blade of grass that somehow has all that power that can miraculously come up from the soil. So take your action steps, really go for it. The third thing this card can speak to, if you are going through something where it's been a loss or that just the past couple months have been hard, this is a great time to do a little spring clean, to tidy and organize, declutter, let things go. That's a fantastic manifestation technique. I was just talking to a client about this the other day on the phone. So if you're feeling the urge to do a spring clean or declutter wherever you are in the world, that's amazing preparatory thing for bringing something new in and manifesting. Sometimes when the universe sees that you're a little too full in your life or there's too much there, it won't push so many new things or new energy into your life. So the symbolism I'm also hearing of just decluttering and organizing and tidying can also be fantastic if you're releasing something. It's like I'm releasing a relationship or a pattern or an idea I had about myself. It's old and I want to let it go. Doing something in the physical can help you really let it go mentally and emotionally. So a lot came in about this third card, and it feels kind of like a fun energy for some of us in the second half of March, where we might be really feeling that fresh start spring energy. So thank you so much for being here with me. I can't tell you how excited I get to come on and do these videos. So thank you for being here for all of them. And as you know, or you may not know if you're new to the channel, we do these videos twice a month, the first half and second half of each month. So I'll see you back here for the first half of April, where we pull 3 new cards and, see how these cards move in your life over the next 2 weeks. It might be that there's a card here that you didn't even pick with your intuition, that as you look back on the last 2 weeks of March, you think, wow, I picked number 1, but it was really number 3 that seemed most helpful for me. So use your own intuition to give yourself a reading when I'm talking about these cards. If I say something that really pops out to you, remember that and think about yourself and your life and what's going on, because we're all so different and individual, even though there's a lot that always goes on in the collective. As I'm speaking, think about your own life or an issue that's most important to you and see what parts of what I say or what parts of the cards resonate with you. And if you're interested in getting either of these decks, you can find info on how to do that in the links below. Easy to get them online at Amazon or Barnes & Noble, and you can always check your local bookseller or metaphysical bookshop to see if they're in stock. Thank you again, and please like and subscribe to this channel to help this channel grow. And I'm really sending a lot of healing energy as always. Also, I feel like I'm hearing from my angels and guides clairaudiently, it could be a really healthy time. I'm hearing for people in the second half of March. So it might be that there's a healthy action step or thought or pattern or something you're really adopting and going with in the second half of March. And that's just so fabulous because I want the best for you, sending you lots of love and grace and strength. And I'll see you back here next time.